The Roman world illustrates how homosexuality has been irrevocably linked with communications of power and authority because it was presented and perceived in a very different way than it is today. There was no term for homosexuality or heterosexuality in ancient Latin. Welcome back to another exciting video. Today's video is about horrific things that were normale to male concubines in ancient Rome. Before we start the video, please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. Instead, regardless of the gender of the people involved, partners in a sexual relationship would be portrayed as either active, synonymous with masculinity, or passive, feminine, male freeborn. Regarding sexual activity, Romans were given the civil liberty to do as they wished. As a result, as long as it stayed within certain bounds, the idea of a Roman male having homosexual sex was neither controversial nor taboo to the Romans. Conquest and dominance were deeply ingrained as desirable masculine characteristics in the highly militarized state of Rome. Consequently, males could have homosexual relationships as long as they were the penetrating partner with the power, and the submissive partner was regarded as being of lower social standing than them. Interracial coitus with another man of the same social class would be frowned upon because being penetrated as a male was perceived to infringe on a man's integrity and undermine his status. However, a free Roman man would not be subject to any form of discrimination if he engaged in sexual activity with an enslaved man, formerly enslaved person, prostitute, or actor. Roman men were considered acceptable sexual partners for young men, particularly those between 12 and 20. Older Romans were expected to seek out these relationships to some degree by their culture. Roman boys and free young men, however, were off limits. The viability of a sexual partner was significantly more influenced by class and position as indicators of a social difference than it was. All social types could have sex with other men, and during the imperial era, there were numerous accounts of Roman emperors having these kinds of relationships. The most well-known was between Emperor Hadrian and the young Greek Annas. In the year 23, Hadrian came across the 13-year-old Annas while touring the regions. The two are thought to have had a psych relationship until his death at the age of 20 when he drowned in the Nile, though the details of their relationship are mainly unknown. This had such an impact on Hadrian that he had Annas deified and created an empire-wide OC sect to worship him. Despite Hadrian's apparent dedication, Anita's early passing has raised the possibility that his death was not an accident and that he was murdered on purpose. He was getting close to the age at which his relationship with the emperor would no longer be considered socially acceptable, which, if accurate, shows how rigidly fixed the restrictions on gay relationships in ancient Rome were. Along with Hadrian, we also learn that Emperor Titus kept many male concubines and that Nero wed a young man before having him castrated to maintain his vitality. Penetrative male sexual activity was mysteriously related to the prowess and control of the active man, and being the passive partner for males was seen as scandalous and degrading. Political rivals claimed in the late 1950s that Julius Caesar had a sexual connection with King Nisfer of Bethia while he was a guest at the Bane court in a television program. Caesar was rumored to have been the passive sexual partner who earned him the title of the Queen of Bethia from his enemies, demonstrating the relationship between passivity and femininity, and the emasculator effect of being the recipient of homosexual sex entailed. However, it is unclear whether this claim is accurate. Even after conquering Gaul, Caesar could not avoid the gossip and the possibility that he had brutally suppressed Gaul. However, knives brought down Caesar and resounded at his triumphant entry. Tiberius frequently stayed in opulent homes on Mediterranean islands. To fulfill his sex demands and serve as domestic enslaved people, he recruited young boys to the islands. He would make his young concubines execute several horrifying acts and demand sex from them. He taught some young boys to swim between his legs while swimming, one of the most heinous acts he ever did. As much as it was about attraction and emotion, homosexuality in ancient Rome was about communicating power and prestige, using sex as a means of dominance and privilege. Roman citizenship granted him the civic liberties to engage in such relations with any man beneath him in society, displaying his virility and capacity for conquest. Roman men were even known to verbally evaluate their rivals to demonstrate their superiority over them while making fun of the victim because it translated so directly to displays of power. Although laws were made to safeguard the victim's status and prosecute offenders, the case of Caesar demonstrates that powerful men were frequently the target of slander for being passive partners, which could harm a man's political image. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.